Hello and welcome to yet another beautiful episode of Healthy Living, reaching you from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Olamide Al-Hassan. Now, most habits that we struggle with in adulthood were acquired in childhood. Overeating is one such habit. Until recently, most Nigerian parents had no understanding of the concept of serving size. They just knew that well-fed children were healthy children and food wastage was a sin. Therefore, when their children were served a portion of food that was considered suitable for their age, they were mandated to finish it up. Protests over the large portions were hushed and countered with threats of using the cane. Over time, the children learned to swallow their complaints and to do as instructed. Worthy of note is that size does matter when it comes to your food portions. Obesity and other underlying health challenges have ravaged our society for too long. Portion control is one of the most important aspects in maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and at the same time, it is also the most easily overlooked aspect. On the show today, we'll have Pharmacist Adamatie Samuel join us to give insights on how to control our food portions without giving up on great tasting meals. Yeah, welcome to the studio, Pharmacist Adamatie. It's good to have you again.
Thank you very much for having me.
And honestly, today's topic is quite interesting. In fact, I'm glad that you actually introduced us to it. Portion control and overeating. You know, I've been asking people ever since I saw that topic. I've been asking people, what do you understand by portion control? And someone was like, which one is portion control? So I said, okay, don't worry. Watch out for Healthy Living today to find out what portion control is. So could you please help us shed light on what portion control is?
Okay, thank you very much again, Olamide, and thank you once again for inviting me. And good morning, viewers and listeners. Okay, portion control. It's from the word portion, what you're taking. So it has to do with taking a healthy amount from certain food, of a certain food that you eat, of a certain food. So you look at the two terms there, healthy amount of a certain food. It's not like you have a particular food, anyone you're going to take, whether it's fatty, whether it's carbohydrate, whether it's protein, it has to be healthy amount of a certain food. And the aim of doing that is to make sure that your body has what it needs at a particular time to be used, to be stored, and that will also be healthy for you. So that's why I say take a healthy amount of a certain food. So you don't just look at the food and you see there, you want to eat everything because you have that taste to it. You need to be deliberate in controlling it because of the aftermath effect it's going to cause. So that's just the definition of portion control. And there are reasons for that. Maybe when we come to ask more questions, we can actually talk about it.
Before you talk about the reasons now,
yes.
You said a healthy amount of
yes.
the food you're supposed to take.
Yes.
Yeah, people will begin to wonder, how do we determine the healthy amount? And talking about the healthy amount now, won't it differ according to persons? For instance, what person A should be eating as healthy amount,
yes.
and what person B should be eating as healthy amount, shouldn't it differ? You know, we need more understanding of that.
Allow me to be very frank with you. As a pharmacist or a medicine consultant, which some of my friends call me since I'm an authority with drugs, I don't like to delve into other people's area of expertise.
Okay.
It's only a nutritionist that can tell you based on your weight, your age, comorbidities, whether you have one ailment or the other. I can say, okay, this is what fits for you. But some of those things we have managed to know is that for you to look at it subjectively, to say, okay, this is what I need, is after taking a small portion of food, you give yourself about 20 minutes. That's when you decide. Because the more you are eating, the brain is working with you. Mm-hmm. And so, but if you take a small portion and you give yourself about 20 minutes, you find out that you are filled. You can decide not to take again. But after 20 minutes, you can say, okay, some different findings like that. But I had to leave that specifically for the nutritionists, those that have authority when it comes to whatever you eat, to determine what portion is good for you or what is not good for you. But as a pharmacist, that is mine is not that area. So I want to beg so that I will not delve into an unknown territory so that I will not be affected.
It's okay. So let's go to your own territory now. Let's talk about the reasons why we have to control our portions.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, the major rule is to avoid ailments and disease. Now, according to the Center for Prevention of Chronic Diseases and Health Promotion, there are reasons why, because each time when you quote from an authority, it means that yes, you are not just saying from what you think. You know, what you think is good, but it's something that's accepted generally. the tips usually for portion control is that you have to look at some things when you want to eat. We all eat out. We all eat indoors. We all eat maybe while watching movies, whatever. Like so, they said one thing: if you're going to eat out, because some of these things are peculiar to us, if you're going to eat out, we are known to these very popular eateries. I don't want to start mentioning them because they are not paying for your adverts now.
Of course, definitely.
Yes, you see they have different plates, large and small. And so you as a human being, you tend to eat more when you get your food on a large plate. So you also in order for you to help to control whatever you eat, ask for a smaller plate. A smaller. That's one of the things they said. That's when you're eating out.
Yes.
And also try to share. So if they say, okay, you're going to give in a large plate, make sure you share with 2 persons. So that helps to control whatever you're eating. You see now, so those of you that don't like sharing your food, you're probably stingy. You see now.
I had to exclaim like, do you know why I'm saying that? Because before you go to an eatery now and say you want to eat food, and then you're not sharing, it's looking as though you can't afford to buy another place.
We're going to come to that. You just brought something now. The so-called, the definition of a big boy is when you consume large amount of meat. They give you 5 meat.
And you can afford to eat it all by yourself and pay for it.
That's the temptation. Now you can buy more, and you forget that this body, we'll come to that, is also has its own capacity. So if you get filled up and you are still loading it with it, and we'll talk about that. So let me finish the reasons now. So you share or you get a smaller portion. But if you're going to eat indoors, in the past, as the same rich men or the same big boys, you want to cook, or after cooking, they want to serve. You have the dining table. They serve in a very big bowl and they bring plates. Everybody now go and begin to serve. It's not encouraged. If you want to do portion control, it's not being encouraged. Because there's every tendency that as long as the bowl of food is there, you tend to eat more. But have a portion that have been served already and brought. So just imagine now, I'm a big boy or a rich man now. My wife now brings food in the plate, stew, everything there, my own portion. Will I not feel disrespected?
Of course.
You bring 1 or 2 meat. What are you saying?
Let's not even talk about being a rich man. The typical African
traditional man. Everywhere should be food.
You don't expect the woman to bring the food and the stew.
Like that. No,
it has to be separate. The meat separately, the food.
You see that? So I think the way we look at things in the past, ignorance might be one of those things. But let's look at the way things are. So it's not being encouraged because there's a tendency that you are seeing it. You are eating. You want to take more. Then. So that's the aspect. So when eating in, it's not advisable you have your dish being served in a bowl or on your dining table and you go and serve from there. They should serve the portion that is needed for that. One of the other things is that we eat, sometimes people eat during leisure times. They're watching movies, they're playing music, they sit down and eat. The advice is that do not serve the quantity you want. So when you're watching your movie, popular movie, you're sitting down alone, they say you're eating popcorn, you're eating something else and no. Do not take it from the main package. There's every tendency that you're going to finish it. Just having a big bottle of granite by your side, you won't know when you finish it because human beings tend to eat more when they are distracted. They're looking at something, they're eating. So take that quantity and make sure you allow. So it's going to be a deliberate attempt to do that. There's even the saying, there's what you call the energy dense food, the less energy dense food. The one that has more calories are energy dense food. Okay. The one that has less calories are less energy dense food. So if you look at it, in the past, they tell you don't eat it between meals. You must eat morning, afternoon, evening. But now, for portion control, it's been advisable, but what are you going to eat then? So, if I'm supposed to eat morning, afternoon, and evening. And so, before my evening meal, which might come around 6 or 7, I start to take apple or take one of these fruit, banana, and the likes. I've already taken them. Those things, they contain less energy-dense food. That's their content, less calories than the one I'm going to eat at home. So that has taken a portion of my stomach that is supposed to be filled. So what I'm going to go at home, when I go home now, what I'm going to take will not be up to what I usually take before. So I've reduced the number of calories I've taken. So you can now see that eating between meals for the right purpose will not be advised. So I can say, okay, and I begin to adopt that method because my kind of nature of my work, I usually get home late. Instead of eating those food that will now make me not... will not be metabolized, meaning converted well and begin to affect my weight and all. I say, let me take fruit so that I'll be halfway up before I get home and take. Because if I'm now full way up, when you get home, madam will tell you, I started eating outside now. And like, so, but that's way of portion control. You can see. So those are the ways, tips to be able to talk about to control the portion. But there's a reason for why you are doing that. Okay. That is why. Because now, according to that, the Center for Prevention of Chronic Disease and Health Prevention, you're preventing diseases like obesity, diabetes, even stroke, hypertension, and the like. And I'll tell you why. If you are going to go, okay. when you visit, Saturdays are usually for woman births, right? Or they
course.
call it Saturdays are for weddings.
For weddings, yes.
So,
and eating rice.
So, and that is even when people don't follow portion control. When they do the
you
line up.
Rice, no, now.
What's the name?
They are too tempting.
Oh, that's fine. Is it
a buffet?
Buffet that you now queue up and everybody go and, that thing is tempting. You want to collect everything.
Of us.
Yeah, now you want to collect.
What do you expect?
Exactly.
You know, the taste of the party meals are different from the taste
it's
of
at
the
home.
meals at home.
Maybe they use this.
The smoky.
Yes,
rice.
that's the flavor of Nigeria. So you see, so let's get what you get in a typical wedding rice, like it's a party rice. You have your fried rice. So let me just be generous. I don't want to pick everything. So let me pick fried rice. And mix with
These
jollof
days
rice.
it's so tempting because you can find Mexican,
exactly.
rice, coconut rice,
you have to be
deliberate.
Let me be very generous. So let me pick fried rice, pick jollof rice by the side. It's two. Now put salad. Then now decide, and with the cream and the like.
Probably still put more.
Your point. You have said it more. Then you now put your turkey.
And maybe fried fish.
Fried fish. So you have different things there now. So what are the things you have there? You have carbohydrate, rice, protein, fish, the salad, fruits, and the other things. And there's also they put margarine and like, so that's fat. Now you take a spoon and put in your mouth. This is what happens. There are different pathways that they get digested in your system. Okay. And so the body keeps some, use some, and stores some. That's what keeping. Now, before I explain that, allow me to look at this. I have a 10-liter gallon here, and I have a 50-liter gallon. I want to pour from the 50-liter into the 10-liter. If I pour all into the 10-liter, what will happen? Will there be spillage or not? It will spill. You will clean it up. If I collect that 10-liter and I puncture a hole, I connect it through a pipe to another 10-liter, and after that's 20 liter now, connect again to another 10 liter. That will be 30 liter. Then collect another 20 liter.
40.
No, 20, that will be 50.
Okay, 50, yes.
So when I pour that 50 to that 10 liter, will it spill?
No.
It will be going.
It will trickle down to others.
That's the difference between your body and an ordinary compartment that you just pour. So whatever you are eating, the brain is only selfish. It must convert it. After it has taken what it needs, like the first 10 liter, it will store somewhere at the second 10 liter. Then the third one, it either excrete them. Then the fourth one, you must keep it somewhere. It feels that you will need this thing. So while you're storing it, thinking that you need it, it becomes a problem to you. So let's go back to our meal. You take that 1 spoon. That 1 spoon you cut moi, you cut rice. You take rice rather, cut moi, you cut some portion of the fish and the salad you eat. So as it goes to the mouth, yes, chew, mix them together. From the intestine, the fatty part of the food that you have taken, because whatever you're eating, it has fat, carbohydrate, and protein. Yes. You just had that expansion, that bowl of food looking at you.
Of course.
The fat now in your body will be converted to what you call, it breaks down to, because that fatty thing is a lump. So when it breaks down to small particles. That's how it can be absorbed. So I don't start mentioning medical terms. When it absorbs, it binds to what the body produces cholesterol itself. So we'll come to the topic whereby cholesterol itself is not actually bad. It's what happens with it. So when they come to tell you my cholesterol is high, that's most people think is cholesterol itself is bad. No, because cholesterol doesn't help you produce vitamin D, produce testosterone that helps the man. So itself is not bad, but what happens? That's what is bad. Because cholesterol does not dissolve in your blood. It's like wax. So it's not always going to cause any harm. So when the body produces cholesterol, it binds to that degraded part of that fat from your food that you have eaten. So that thing begins to permeate your blood vessels. From there, it gets absorbed. It breaks down. So when it binds to cholesterol, binds to it, and some other things the liver produces called lipoprotein. What you now have is very low density lipoprotein. They call it VLDL. So that one permeates your blood vessels. Through the pores in your blood vessels, they're absorbed into the body. Now, some are absorbed. So you now live from very low density lipoprotein to intermediate density lipoprotein. That one still moves around.
Great.
Yes, being absorbed. It still leaves some part of it. You now have the low density lipoprotein. That low density protein cannot move around very well. So now gets sticky to your blood vessels and hold the cholesterol on the blood vessel. So that accumulates with time. That's why it now leads to issues with, they call it atherosclerosis. Your blood vessels are clogged, and that can result to hypertension. Now, if you eat too much of all these, after the body has taken the fat that I need, the others are coming, it will not be using that. So that's why it's clogging. Now, let's go to the rice, carbohydrate. Normally, when it has been broken down from carbohydrate to, they call it other forms of the until you finally get to glucose. I don't start mentioning in sucrose or maltose. You get to glucose, that's one that will be
Don't
absorbed.
get us lost.
Yes, that's the one that enters the body.
Yes.
When it enters the body, the pancreas will just say, hey, please, there's glucose here. We need insulin so that I can take this glucose to your cells, your organs, so that you can be talking the way I'm talking now. You can move, you can laugh. It's glucose. So it takes it. When it takes it, after the body takes what it needs, there's excess. You say, go to the liver and keep there. In case this person is hungry later, that person has not eaten, you bring the one from the liver out. So you see, that's stored. You eat more are still coming because you are eating portion. So it goes to the liver. So the liver now converts the one that is still excess again. After storing them, converts those ones to like fatty acid thing. They call it triglyceride, combining with the same cholesterol that was there before. That process stuff and goes to a part of your body called adipocytes and store it as fat. Adipocytes are mostly in those space in between your organs. So your organs this is your stomach and all this space in between. That's why I see people that are obese, they get fat here because those are your adipocytes. Those are the sites where fat gets stored in. They are the space in between all these your organs. So you say, go and keep it there. That's why I gave you the illustration about those gallons and the like. The same thing happens with proteins. You eat, the protein get broken down, there are enzymes that are in the body, they are being used. The excess, the liver converts it also and store in the adipocytes. So when you are eating excess, what is happening is that they are coming, the liver is storing them in the adipocytes because they are excess. It has taken the one that it needs. So see what now happens now. Because of the excess fat, because you convert them to fat and store, your insulin becomes resistant, meaning that when there is now glucose, instead of insulin taking it to your body to function, fat there prevents it. So the glucose will just be in the blood. That will now lead to diabetes. So you see, because of overheating, hypertension, you are prone. Diabetes, you are prone. So that's why they tell you, you need to control whatever you are eating. Then obesity comes into play because the brain must keep that thing that you are bringing in.
You know, this
It must keep it.
this scenario you just painted now.
Yes. So that is that bowl that you are eating. That bowl.
It's just, I'm surprised.
But
Because everybody wants to enjoy a great tasting meal.
I don't want to speak pidgin. Isn't that
So-
waiting the sweet night they kill?
You just have to say it here.
Say the way it is, so that you don't paint
It is what it is.
Yes, exactly.
But you know, I'm thinking, I'm overwhelmed actually. Because everybody, I don't think it's just so hard. Because how can you have such tasty meals? And someone tells
Claus
you,
said something. All substances are poison. There is none that is no poison. It's only the dose makes a difference. What he says is that it's the dose, the portion of your food that differentiates it being a poison or a remedy. The remedy means you are satisfying your hunger. If you take it too much now, the level has increased, it leads to a problem, a poison.
now the biggest problem is that we mistake cravings for hunger. Because most of the time, we've had our full.
Yes.
But the point is we're still craving more.
Anything that comes, ice cream, chocolate.
You know, I was also talking to the only person that understood the concept of, portion control.
Yes.
And she said, I understand portion control, and that's the reason why whenever I'm buying my beverages, I buy the smaller packs, the ones in sachet, and then I use just tiny, tiny bits. And I was like, so what happens when you crave more? Or do you get to that situation where you tend to open 2 sachets and then, instead of 1? And she was like, on some occasions, but it's not all the time. So there are lots of people viewing us at home right now, and they feel like, because I don't do it all the time, I can get away with it.
Well, it's a yes or and a no. Okay. Because if you look at, for one to become diabetic, from that aspect of glucose increase in the blood because of fat resistance and the like, it means it happens, continuously, even with the issue with hypertension, that when the blood vessels get clogged continuously. Then 2, if you also live a sedentary lifestyle and eating like that, because as you are working energy and like you are burning those things you are using, that's why that too much of fat can now make whatever you are burning, you're not getting that level because there's resistance. Now, those people that talk about cravings, from experience as a community pharmacist, you see that there's nothing that puts fear in man more than having a sickness when they are being diagnosed. One, they don't want to take drugs. Yes. I've seen people that they like coke, Fanta, everything. The day they found out that they were diabetic, they forget that deliberate action of not taking it. You wonder where they got that energy from. You ask them, where did you take Coke? They say, I cannot even remember. It's only water now. But before, where did you know?
It so is what is at stake. Human beings always want to have that. They have something huge
to make them stop.
Yes.
But it's not the best. So because we now preach prevention. As a pharmacist, I prefer that adage of prevention is better than cure. I prefer to preach prevention because the more you take drugs, the more you still take drugs. Because you are correcting one, a side effect might come that need another correction. Let me give you an example now. Somebody is hypertensive because of maybe this I just mentioned, or because of his level of stress. He overworks himself. He takes a drug that the physician prescribes for high blood pressure. That drug can lead to erectile dysfunction. So he's going to now look another drug for erectile dysfunction because of the one he's taking before. So why not live a lifestyle that will prevent you from coming down with the ailment that you treat that will lead to side effects that you take on that drug to treat? So you see. So it's that's when you had the National Center for the Control of Chronic Prevention, Control of Chronic Disease and Health Promotion brought those guidelines, and it made a lot of sense. Because it's not about just going to take drugs to treat diabetes or to treat hypertension or obesity or whatever that comes with excessive eating. Sometimes you need to work on preventive measures so that, because these things, when they now come, it might be more expensive to manage. Because your heart functions now, because you are putting more pressure on the heart to function. You can come out with other cardiovascular issues and the likes. So punctual controls, from what I just explained to you now, you now see the reason whereby you should eat according to how your body can take. And you yourself can know. I just give you that example of that, apart from asking the nutritionist, I gave you the example of that 20 minutes gauge.
Yes.
You take a small portion with a small plate and wait for 20 minutes. You get it. You try and add fruits to it. Because fruits will definitely not cause those things that you are causing, because they go out of the system. They are not stored anywhere, or those vegetables, like the ones that you are eating, your carbohydrate, fats, and protein, that they must be stored somewhere. So you see, so when you analyze this, you now say, when I get home, I need to be deliberate. Madam, please don't give me 5 meats or 10 or make one bowl of. No, take 2. You are not poor taking 1 or 2 or drinking. There are some people that understand their health, which mean they go and take only water and just 1 meat, and they are done. They know. It's not enjoyment. They know. They want to live longer. They know.
This being deliberate now, it's bringing me to ask you this question, because I've been hearing you talking about the brain is selfish, the brain does this. Does it now mean that somehow we need to retrain our brain that we don't need this much food? Because somehow, your body system just feels like, I have to keep eating. I have to keep eating. I'll paint a scenario of myself.
Yes.
Yesterday I was eating bread.
Yes.
And then I had this loaf of bread, and I was looking at it like, normally I would always tell myself it's just a little. So I would always prefer the sliced bread, not the unsliced one. But yesterday I got the unsliced one, and it's been a while, and it gave me that feeling of the agege bread in Lagos.
The bread will remind you now.
And I was like, oh goodness.
Let me continue.
So I took the first, portion, and by the time I was done with it, I was like, I'm not supposed to eat more because it's already late. And I heard it was the
Let me tell you something about the brain. The brain responds to whatever it sees that comes to it. It doesn't have that sense of saying, this thing is too much for you, let me not make you eat again. No. As you are eating, what the brain works is that once you are filled up, the part of the brain, the satiety center that makes you get filled up, and also as you are eating, the more you eat, once you get to a particular level, it says, I'm done. That's why you have overfed yourself. But if you deliberately say, even if the brain has not got to that satiety center, you deliberately say, I'm taking this, I'm stopping. With time, it will adjust to you. That's the way it works. It will adjust because you are not being deliberate. Because the brain is something that works based on what you get to it. They have the voluntary part of the brain, you have the involuntary part of the brain. So, but it works based on what you get to it. So when it sees anything in the system, bam. That's why when it sees glucose in the blood, you don't need to tell it. You just say, insulin, come out. There's glucose here. Glucose has come. Insulin, take glucose to the muscles. For growth, for your talking, for energy, generally, your eye movement, everything you're doing. The one that's remaining, take it to the liver, keep it there in case this person is tired later. Just send. That's why somebody, after being hungry for some time, no longer get hungry because he releases glucose from the liver. The ones that, liver is filled up now. There's still more glucose in the blood. Yeah. Okay, liver, convert it to what can be stored in another house. That's your visceral organs that you have on the side of tummy, and also, that's with time. Increase in size, weight gain, obesity comes into play. So it's whatever you tell that it does. So if you decide to say, I want to be deliberate, initially, especially for those that overeat and obese, it's not actually easy when you are now trying to reduce.
Trim down, yes.
Because your body will also respond, the brain. That's why you call it withdrawal effect and the like. But in all, you have to be deliberate. Because let me give you another instance. Somebody that is working on overdrive, stress, always working, always being stressful, and all, the body sees it as a threat. The brain responds because when you're working, you need more blood to work. So as a result of that, because of the body sees it as stress, you release some stressor factors. And so these are stressor factors. The body now sets, the brain now resets the body, and so makes you work at that stressor level, feel is normal to you. So meaning that because of that, if somebody is over stressed or because of the nature of the work, and the person comes down with high blood pressure, hypertension. The brain sees that high blood pressure as the person's normal state. But that high blood pressure can lead to stroke that can kill the person, that can affect the person. Because the body will reset. That's where the brain sees you, whatever you are doing, at this level, give Sam that level. This is the level Sam is at. Every day, this is the way he works. Let's make him like that. And so he needs more energy, he needs more blood flow, so increase the blood pressure. So he resets, and so sees you like that. So you must not be the one saying, because that blood pressure that is high, which the brain sees as normal, it has reset it, is actually going to be detrimental to you. It can cause stroke, it can cause other cardiovascular issue. So the brain is whatever it sees that is coming, it sees that it's threat or sees that something can manage through positive or negative feedback, it must respond to it. That's why in this portion control aspect, if you don't tell the brain what to do, it will just be following like that. People that are obese, I'm not sure they want to be like that. It's like you mentioned at the back when we were discussing, you start eating, they train your child to eat like that. And with time, the brain just says, this is the pattern of eating. That is why, as a pharmacist, I do not advise parents to give their babies less than 2 years stimulants for eating. There are a lot of multivitamins you see that they are appetite stimulant inside. They contain cyproheptadine. My pikin not the chop well. Give me one. Nurse give me make it eat well. I do not advise that. You know why? The brain and the body is still developing as a child. So if you not introduce the child to that, the part that naturally should help stimulate hunger and the likes in the child will now shut down. So the child needs to not be on those drugs and grow up like that. You want something to eat. So if your child is definitely not really eating, a multivitamin will definitely help. A normal one, like you mentioned one earlier at the background. That's it. The reason is this. When you say your child is not eating, it doesn't mean the child does not eat at all starves. The child just eats small.
Yes.
Small portion.
Yes.
So that multivitamin helps to even carry that small portion to wherever it's going to work. Okay. And also supplement. So, but not that stimulant itself. I really don't even advise that. That's another. I just have to chip that in.
In fact, there's still a lot we need to talk about when it comes to this portion control. But let's go on a quick break. When we return, the conversation continues.
Okay.
All right, viewers, let's go on a quick break. I'm sure you're enjoying the conversation, but we'll be right back. Welcome back, viewers. We're still talking on portion control and overeating on healthy living, and I hope you're enjoying the conversation with Pharmacist Adamatie Samuel. All right, sir. Before we went on the break, you were talking about not advising parents to give their children stimulants for eating. Yes. But most of the times, I have found families see it as they make it look like an abomination when you do not eat as you should. That was what I included in the introduction when I started. Yes. First of all, it's seen as a sin to overeat, and yet again a sin to waste food. So which means that for every portion you've been given, you must finish it. Me, growing up personally, my mom would often hold me responsible for always leaving my food behind. She would threaten me, in fact, you're going to see this, you're going to see that, for not finishing that food. You know, we had that phase we had to go through. And then she had to pump a lot of multivitamins into my system because she feels like I was too skinny and I just needed to eat up and, grow big. And from your explanation so far, especially during the first segment, and I was like, so eating well in our own definition in an African society could also be detrimental to our health.
Well, I am not necessarily, because I want to get that context of eating well. Now, let's come to our context now. Because in the past, even when you're in school, the teacher or your professor always talk about balanced diet. And I look at my environment, I'm like, so where does the not to average individual fall into that doesn't have access to balanced diet? The one that eats rice in the morning, amala in the afternoon, or maybe rice in the morning, nothing in the afternoon,
Gari in
amala
the
or
afternoon,
or
maybe.
there's one or two. They are all carbohydrate. So where does this person fall in? Because for you to have balanced diet, you need to have all the necessary nutrients to whatever you are eating. I said, what does this? Because now, the same food you ate in the morning, it has, like I said, where it has to be stored. It has not even finished. You are bringing the same class of food in the afternoon. So where do you put this person? So I now said, it's not all about balanced diet again. It's not about the portion.
Wow.
Because of the fact that you are looking at your environment now. How many people eat this balanced diet? How many? Sometimes they will ask you how many food you look at yourself in a whole week. People have varieties. How many have variety? The same thing. Monday rice, Tuesday beans, Wednesday the same pattern like.
And probably when you're living alone, you just cook that same food, you eat it over and over.
Yes,
so don't
exactly.
waste it.
So, if you now focus on portion control, it gives you a better view of managing yourself, what you eat, than even the balanced diet. Balanced diet is the best if you have access to it. But if you don't have access, making do what you have, meaning that you need to make that portion control be very consistent because you're eating the same thing and the same thing gets stored in the same place. And when the place is filled up, you are prone to those other issues because nowhere will those food now get stored. So now take them small. So if I now eat rice in the morning, if I want to eat rice in the afternoon, I can have that portion I ate in the morning or even make it times divided by 3 so that I know because there's already still carbohydrate in the body. Unless I want to eat maybe protein in the afternoon. But that now tells you how you're eating this your food. Now, going back to the first thing you mentioned about our parents, you know, is the way you bring up your child. The way I'm a Christian, so let me say it. Train up your child in the way you should go. When he's old, he will not depart. So they brought the child up like that now. When I was going, my mother, I must eat like that, so I want to inculcate that to my child. If you don't eat, you will not be fine. Yes, but what portion? Because food is life. Food gives you your nutrient. It makes you develop well. If you don't eat well, your skin will not shine.
So
shine.
sizes do matter.
Yes. So, but so the one is eat. Like there was one. Let me see, I think it was a joke I saw on social media when the guy said the doctor told him to take a cup of a drink or so, and he brought one very big jar. He told the wife, now the doctor said I should take a cup, and this is a big jar now. So you take it, but what portion? You are supposed to eat. If you don't eat, you will have issues. But what portion are you giving to that child? Now, you are giving the child, and the child doesn't eat, you will not beat the child. You don't know that, yes, in the past, they must eat like that. We encourage your child to eat, but at what level? My wife will tell me then, my kids must eat very well. And I say, yes, they should eat, but do not eat them to become overweight at this age. Because, yes, they are developing and you need to train them. Because when they get used to it, that's how they start eating. You now have kids that are obese because their food is available. If you look at it in the developed world and the likes, that's why you have more people that are obese and the likes. Because they really get food is generally available and it's quite cheap. And when those things are available and quite cheap, there's this tendency that you want to, unless you deliberately say, no, I will not. Because the enticing, the aroma, the taste, you take 1, you take 2, you take 3.
You know, great
meals. So everything you do, like I tell people, everything you do in this life, for you to be well, you need to be deliberate about your health. From what you eat, what you drink, even to the drugs. You need to be deliberate to get the best of it. That's why I always say, why I say even to the drugs, you don't just say because a drug, anybody markets drug or anybody has drugs to sell, you just go to anywhere. Ask questions because you have to be deliberate so that you get it right. Because the right information about it, whatever you take also matters a lot. So in that aspect, things are changing. It's not, we are not bringing information. It's not to force your child to say he must finish the food. It's to know the portion that the child should get now and say, okay, eat. And the child is not eating as supposed to. That's where that multivitamin comes in. Like I said at the background then, whatever you eat are macro and micro.
Yes.
Macro is that lumpy food, big. So your protein, your carbohydrate. They break down their macronutrients. Micronutrients are the elements, talking about vitamins. You have iron, you have calcium, you have magnesium, all over you see your multivitamins. They assist the macro to get to where they're supposed to work. And so, if your child is not eating, yes, if you give a multivitamin to assist whatever is eating, it helps out whatever is eating that is small to get to everywhere that's going to act. So, but with time, it begins to eat, but not give a direct stimulant that acts on the brain and say, our brain, let this child be hungry and start eating. It's going to affect generally with the physiology of the child, meaning that the structure of the child. That's why you see most people that take stimulants, they don't have evenly distributed fat they have a moon face, tiny hand,
Okay,
big
yeah,
tummy, because
true.
it's not well distributed.
Very
so,
true.
And you will not like that. So I'm eating, yes, you see them around there. Oh, no, it's not the best. So then and now, it cannot really come.
Let's talk
together.
about how to train the brain to know that enough is enough, you know, that sort.
Okay.
Because sometimes you'll be wondering if we have to train our brain
Yes.
to know that we've had our full.
Yes.
Because if we don't train our brain, I feel like the craving will still be there and we'll still be longing to eat more. So how can we even handle the brain to, how can we control our
your
consumption?
eating
Yes,
yes, okay.
especially looking at the brain aspect.
Well, you've heard that adage that says, is it practice that made perfect, or how? One of the ways to do that, because the brain naturally, as you eat, you get to a particular point, it says stop eating. But there are factors that affect it, because if you eat rushly, you eat more than when you eat and chew slowly.
Oh.
So that's one way. So you need to now learn to eat, because now the brain is that part of that satiety. It's not something you can say, no. That's why when you're hungry, it tells you I'm hungry. And when I'm eating, it tells you I'm filled up. But the way for you to say, okay, let me not take much of whatever I'm eating is now, instead of eating, try and chew very well. And so that level, you don't need to eat much.
Okay.
That's one. So that's one. That thing. Then two is, if possible, those things that, because you said cravings, one of the ways to fight cravings is take those things around you, be deliberate and take them. Being deliberate is your own decision.
Of course.
They are not close to you. Like now, I can say, okay, instead of taking 3 bottles of Coke every day, let me take 2 for next 1 week. Let me go to 1. Because you don't just stop abruptly. You will see the effect. You will see that there's a way the cravings will come, and you don't know if somebody's even directing you, like, hey, who is moving me to go and take this Coke and like, and so you definitely will now say, let me take those things that get me attracted to it, or let me come to the office. If I'm going to take Coke once a day, if I take this Coke outside, once I get to the office, I will not take it. If I'm outside, if I get to the office, that's when I will take Coke. So it's once a day, you have kept to it. But initially, it's usually painful, but with time, your body gets used to it. And when your body gets used to it, your brain will adapt. So training your brain is not like on its own. You need to now first start it, then the brain will fall in place. So when they say fall in line, to fall in line and follow you. So you see yourself that people that do exercises to burn fats or the likes, it don't just start like that. It's something that they are deliberate and do it consistently, then the brain will just accept. So you see yourself not liking, Coke becomes bitter in your mouth. Those things those sugar that you you don't see yourself liking it again. But it doesn't just say, there's one drug you take that will make the brain know. It's something that you start. It's come with its own issues, but you have to be deliberate. Then with time, the brain falls in line and say, this is it. You see yourself eating just 2 slices of bread and you're filled up. Just say just 1 piece of meat. You're not bothered about having 2. Because sometimes it's what you see and your attraction that makes you bring more. So you tell the brain, no, I'm not taking it. With time, you now say, this person has said no. Because like I said, the brain responds to whatever you give it.
Yes.
It responds. So it now knows that, for now, Sam is no longer taking 3 bottles of Coke. Everybody in the body, take note. It is now 1 bottle. When 1 bottle comes, shut up and collect it. It's whatever you tell the brain, it does for you. Absolutely.
I quite agree with you. But now I'm beginning to think of another thing.
Yes.
Because the first thing that people just tell themselves is, we have it, we can eat it, and you don't know tomorrow. It's whatever you have inside of you. You know, but
African mentality.
I always have to, you know me, I will always bring out some of those things because I want you to be eroding some things on the minds of the viewers at home.
Yes.
Our typical African society believe that it is what you eat you will fly with, first of all. And you don't know tomorrow. So enjoy your life today because you only live once.
But they've also listened now. They've also heard, before you continue, that you are what you eat.
Yes.
So are they eating what is even good for their system?
Because that's where I'm going to. Because if you're telling yourself you only live once.
Yes.
And it is what you eat you're going to fly with.
Yes.
And you're not mentioning that there are some underlying health hazards.
Yes.
From eating what you can fly with. How do we begin to reconcile this?
Now, good. For somebody to come out and tell you, you only eat once, you die. I just say just
you only live once.
You only live once, and you eat. You live with what you eat with, and you live with it. Abi?
Yes.
See, ignorance is a disease. I will tell you that there's some things in life that I never thought were like this. When I found out, I'm like, that's so it be. It changed my orientation. If the man knows that,
Please enlighten us.
yes, if the man knows that eating too much will shorten his life expectancy, his lifespan, he wants to live long now. I mean, he needs to learn. If the man knows that taking too much alcohol, because it's the name of enjoyment, will cause liver enlargement, he knows that. And when it causes liver enlargement, you have the big tummies and the like, and lead to liver cirrhosis and the likes. He will now say, I don't want my liver to be enlarged because the liver has a lot of work that it's doing in my body. If it's now been enlarged, I lead to other liver ailments and the likes, I will pack up on time. If he knows that the way you are functioning now, you will not function like that in the next 5 years, like your vehicle that you have now, that will not be like that in the next 5 years because of friction. It's what you call organ capacity reducing every year by a particular percentage, meaning the way your heart is pumping now will not pump like that next year, will not pump like that next year because of age, your body is weakening and all. He knows he needs to readjust. A doctor will not need to tell him, a physician will not tell him that cut down whatever you are eating. So that's what I said, part of the thing is the awareness, and that's why even the last time I came, I said, thank God for this kind of program, to let people know that some things they assume that is it. It's not really what it is. Sometimes truth is not actually fact. Because your truth, something can be true to you, can be true to me.
But
doesn't
not
mean
a
it's a fact.
Yes.
So they might have believed that, okay, yes, let me enjoy, let me drink, let me eat as my body is accepting it. They forgot that this body is not, how will I put it, like I was explaining the gallon that you have, that illustration. It's whatever you give to it, it makes use of. And if there are excess, you must keep it. Whether that keeping is going to block anything that will affect other organs, it doesn't matter. He keeps it somewhere. So you now see people coming down with different ailments. So awareness is key. Point is, do not eat according to your cravings or taste buds. Eat because you need to eat and what is needed for your body at every point in time. That's why that definition says a healthy amount from a certain food. Healthy amount, certain food, portion control, live healthy.
You have just given us some implication of this overeating. Okay, so how do we now begin to control our portions? What's the best thing to do?
Okay, that's it pushing me into a territory I don't want to go to. Now,
but we
yes,
need to talk about this.
Yes. Now, in every environment, I'll be very frank with you, one of the professions that people take for granted in the health sector are dietitians. People don't see their relevance. They only see their relevance when they are diabetic. When they go to see a physician and they find out that, okay, you are diabetic, these are diabetic drugs, try and see a dietitian to tell you to create a timetable that
your meal
plan. That's the word, meal plan. They don't go before and say, from the on I want to start controlling what I eat. So one of the things is this, for our viewers, is to try as much as possible, if you can't get a dietitian around your area or the hospital, wherever you just go to the hospital and say, who is a dietitian? I want to work on portion control. They have a measurement for that. That's one. But that's being objective. Being subjective is looking at those tips that UN and the Center for Disease and Prevention and Health Promotion gave. You don't eat with a huge... People at home, if you are the type that eat with a huge bowl, do not eat with a huge bowl again. Because when you eat with a huge bowl, you want to finish it. That's the body is what's seeing is belief. And now when you see it and you want to eat too, start with a small bowl, and when you eat with that small bowl, you see yourself that you are filled up. It must even be a big bowl.
Oh, sorry to cut you. This statement you made now, I remember I was giving a guest a plate of food, and he said, I don't think I can finish it. And I said, why not start? He finished it.
You see now? Because it's there. The body will want to. Even me. I'm bringing my own issue here now. When my wife brings food for me, messing the big bowl sometimes, I'm like, please, take it back. I know the health implication, but sometimes it's because with time, I try to apportion what I eat. When I see that big bowl, I won't lose appetite to eat. Because with time, like your brain is not getting used to portion. So when you say something big, you're no longer, you just might even lose appetite. But so they should start with that.
Sorry to cut you again. The reason why I had to bring that, especially because of this bowl thing, especially for tea, taking of tea. If you're taking tea in the expected normal teacup, the teacup, I'm talking about the very tiny teacup, people look at you and be like, what are you forming?
Olamide, thank you for asking this.
I've had that experience severally because I don't take excessive tea. I'm like, what are you feeling like?
As I said, the brain requires that you deliberately tell, this is what I want. When I was growing up, I want to drink tea. You know that rubber cup? I take your bread and you will drink it. But when I talked about this, knew about this portion control and saw this effect, I started adjusting. when you go to most conferences, events, you see the kind of small tea
cup,
and I will take it. After drinking it, I tell my body, this is it. We are not going further than this. And I got used to it and I took that attitude home. So when I want to take, I have that teacup, even if it's big, I know I will take it. There's a level I get to, I say, it won't pass here. Because you've done it 1, 2, 3 months deliberately, your body picks it up. That's why I want to advise some of these big executives, officers, you see, they get to the office, they start with coffee, they continue drinking coffee. Secretary, bring coffee. Gentleman, bring coffee. Anytime, the craving, coffee. You are going to harm yourself. Because you are loading yourself with nicotine. With time, you can come down with high blood pressure.
Wow.
You should be able to say, no, now, this one is enough. You deliberately say, that craving is there. I want to be sharp. No, I will not take, let me take water. Because the body must use whatever it has that you have sent to the body. So, going back to what you said, like I said, I'm not a nutritionist, but looking at what the Center for Disease Prevention and Health Promotion said. So you start with small bowls, or you want to let's share this food. I have a bowl of eba. Let me and my son, my daughter, my brother, my wife, let's eat together here. So you mean that portion I'll be share. Also, if you know you want to add more carbohydrate with different variety, reduce the portion. For example, some people want to eat rice and add bread to it. So if you're going to eat rice and bread, that rice you have taken, divide that portion into 2 so that bread will augment for it. Not say, I'm eating the same bowl of rice that they give me with the portion, let me add bread to it.
I'm adding bread, yes.
Or you want to eat more, I want to eat another protein attached to it. Cut it so that at the end of the day, you still get the same portion of what you take as one. That's the aspect. Then, like I said, talking about eating out, I will give that example. Then also, subjectively, if you eat, to be sure, you want try to gauge your system, eat small portion and wait for 20 minutes. If you see that after 20 minutes, you are really still hungry, you take. If you see you are no longer hungry, you now know that, okay, this is the portion that my body can carry. Then also, we looked at the fact that, okay, when you're talking about eating in, eating out, watching a leisure time, you don't eat from the full package. You take out what you want to. These are all little tips, but if you want to, but these are good for, these tips will be healthy for someone that, let me use that word in code, normal. It's not already obese, normal weight or not, but you want to start controlling what you eat. But somebody that's already obese, this will not do you good totally. You need to now work with a dietitian to work on, so that you can work on what you eat and the like, so that you can control it. But the point is that you need to control the portion of what you eat.
All right.
Healthy.
So in rounding up now, what's advice, what's healthy lifestyle advice would you give coming from a pharmacist like you?
Okay, as a pharmacist, let me start with that statement from Paracloth. This is all substances are poison. There is no which is not the poison. Only the dose makes the difference. So one, control what you eat. Seek advice from a medical professional, a pharmacist or a medical consultant if you're on drugs, so that they can advise you better. If you're already obese because of overeating, try and work with the dietitian and your physician. So that while you're working from the diagnosis aspect of, and with the pharmacist also with drugs you're taking, you're working with a dietitian to control what you eat. Then finally, you do not follow your taste buds. No. Follow what you need. And one more thing, exercise.
Good.
Exercise is key. Because when you exercise, it's a way of helping you. I'll talk about that some other time. A way of helping you to burn out those things that already been stored.
Yeah.
Because
I was even going to ask you that those things that were stored, I don't know how I forgot.
Yes.
How do we get them out of our system?
Oh, okay. Now, I mentioned about those things, about the adipocyte that have been stored and the likes. And there's cholesterol in the system. When you start doing exercise and jogging, what do you need to do exercise? You need you need glucose to run, to jump, to run on that treadmill and the likes. You need glucose. So what happens is that those ones have been stored in the liver. The body will say, chew glucagon, bring them out to bring. So glucose will come to the blood. They are using it to stimulate. So it's going. When that one finishes, the one in the fat that the fat has used to store in the adipocyte, they will come out. So they are coming out, they are reducing the portion, and also your body is taking it out. Then the cholesterol that has already been there, because of the exercise now, the liver sends high density lipoprotein to come and mop out. So that's why when they check those results and all, they say, there's the bad cholesterol, there's the good one. You're talking about the lipoproteins, not cholesterol in quotes. Because I thought it doesn't dissolve in the blood. So when you do exercise like that, the liver is mopping out the excess cholesterol that is there, because it doesn't see anything to bind to clog your blood vessels. The things that have been stored in the adipocytes and all glucose, they come out and they are being used. So with time, weight begins to come down. Why you are now taking little. Most times we say take food, just to take something that your body is filled up. Because now, what triggers you to eat is when you are hungry. So if you are now obese or you are, one is doing exercise, you know that there's glucose in the body, it might take something else that's not related to glucose or like, so just be filled. To know the brain, food is here, but it's working. So you just take fruits and the like, so your body is filled up. Yes, I'm satisfied. Vegetables, I'm satisfied. But the major thing is leaving your body. Because now if you are doing the exercise and still eating those carbohydrates and protein and likes, it's going to take a longer time for you to burn. So you are doing exercise, you are taking those food, maybe a lot of fibers that just make you fill up. But they are not doing any major thing, just fill up while your body is now burning whatever it already has. So exercise that's one of the ways to control, apart from using drugs. Because now
you can use drugs?
Yes, now we'll come to that now. There are people, and also let me say it now, they go online or they go out and say they have this medicine. It can be herbal, it can be non-herbal, and say it's to burn fat, it's to burn weight. The truth is that to burn fat or to lose weight, there are three things.
Okay.
The lifestyle, whatever you consume, exercise to burn what is already there, and the drug to assist. So when they now tell you, take this drug, give me 2 weeks, it will burn the fat and all, they are all lies. It will not do it alone. You must combine. Most time, these drugs, what they do is that whatever fat that is going to be, or whatever thing that will cause increase in weight that's going to be on that food you are eating, they prevent it from being absorbed to the body.
Okay.
What of the one is already existing in the body?
So they can't extract the one that's already existing?
They can't go and take it out. No.
Okay.
If you have to now work that one out.
Okay.
So that's why I say you don't just say, just this drug, it's going to, they tell you take this one, after 2 weeks it's burning. Sometimes you just say, no, I say, are you saying, is this the truth, or you're just, that is your own truth? That's just so because you want to probe things.
It's
and
not
like
a fact,
yeah,
it's
it's not
their
a
own
fact.
truth.
There must be 3. You must work on what you are taking in, 1, on the drug, 2, then finally the lifestyle.
So that means there are drugs for portion control too?
No, not drug for portion control.
Okay.
I say drug for weight.
Okay.
You cannot take a drug and say, when I've taken this one, when I eat like this, I will stop.
So there are people that believe that when you take this particular medication, you will not be hungry and you will not have any sort of cravings.
Somebody have asked me that one time and said, why is that there's always drug to make you eat? What of drug to stop you from eating? I've
seen people sell herbal teas and say once you take it, it will stop you from craving anything. It will stop you from even wanting to eat. You will not go hungry.
Well, you know, science is dynamic. As far as I am concerned, Pharmacist Sam, I have not seen a drug or a herbal preparation that we take and we shut the brain down for making you eat. Yes, there are drugs that for other purposes, but the side effect is that they make you not want appetite. There are some drugs where you take, they make you feel full. There's this drug now they use for weight. Yes, there's one of these drugs now. It's a recent drug now. I don't want to mention the name. That's the way it works. It makes you feel full. You're not hungry. It doesn't mean that you lose appetite. You're not hungry. The appetite means, okay, the thing is there. You don't feel like eating it. But this one, it doesn't make you look hungry. So you're not hungry, so you don't bother about food. There are drugs like that. But most times, I don't want to now say, let's start at that level. Because those drugs are kept strictly for people that are in a state, clinical state, meaning they are obese. It needs to be managed. That's what they use those drugs for. But you that is just starting, why do you want to not take a drug to make it not take? Portion control does not require you need a drug for portion control. It's something that you need to do deliberately.
Discipline. Because
discipline. It's people that are now in the clinical state, they need them. And that's why you can now say there are drugs for that, yes, to help, to make them not feel hungry so that they can do whatever they want. Yes, there are drugs for it.
I think my greatest lesson from today's interview would be less is more.
Less is more. That's it. Yes. I think I'll take that from you. Less is more.
Thank you so much, Pharmacist Adamatie. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. All right, viewers, I'm sure you've learned a lot today. Please learn to control your taste bud. It takes discipline. It takes you to make it happen. I'll see you again next week. I am Olamide Al Hassan. Bye for now.